Season's greetings, everybody. I'm Joanne Haigh. We welcome our viewers and listeners in Barbados and around the world to Face It and Fix It on CBC TV 8, CBC Barbados, Facebook and YouTube, and of course, Q100.7 FM radio. So what's on my mind this morning? Christmas. I am very tired. I'm lacking sleep. I started since October and I'm officially burnt out. Let's hear how you feel. If you want to share your thoughts throughout the show. In addition to that, you know, we gave away about 3 hams during the month of December, when we started out the month of December rather. And the winners of these hams are as follows: Gail Skinner from St. Michael, Terry Ann Harris, Melrose, St. Thomas, Hazel Burnett, Porters Road, Queen Street. Now you can collect your hams. I know we said we were going to deliver, but unfortunately we cannot. You can collect your hams at Massey at Sky Mall only. So you must go to Sky Mall, visit Massey Supermarket, and 2 gorgeous ladies, very friendly, Laurelyn Nichols. She's a very helpful cashier because she picked out the hams and she put them one side for you guys. And the supervisor in charge of customer care, Diane Knight. I want to say good morning to you ladies. So please do not show up at Massey in any other parish or any other place. You must bring your ID card with you to Massey in Sky Mall only. And Gail Skinner, that would be you, from St. Michael, Terry Ann Harris from Melrose, St. Thomas, Hazel Burnett, Porters Road, Queen Street, and St. Peter. You are required to get down there, get down to Sky Mall, go into Massey, ask for Carolyn Nichols or Diane Knight. They would definitely help you out, so congratulations to you. In addition to that, we had a video, maybe 10 seconds, 20 seconds of it, of David Davis from Renaissance Designs. People know him as D2. I argued that he watched our show, so this is why the spirit of giving is sort of contagious. David actually gave away 22 hams this Christmas. He's in the process of, I think, delivering another one. There are the hands on the screen. I want to commend David Davis publicly and Renaissance Designs for that gesture. And I understand as a result of that gesture, as a result of ours and that, then another gesture came from Jeans Inc. in Sheraton. They're donating 15 hams and to help families. So kudos to all of you who basically got together and made this happen. And again, now today, I know you are all aware of the news of pension checks and disabilities checks being somewhat delayed. I can report to you after speaking to Minister Jordan this morning that 99.9% of these checks have been delivered. However, we still have a small amount outstanding and they're working on those checks today. And I would like to announce that we would like to give $300 each to 2 persons worth of groceries at Massey at Sky Mall if you did not get your check, if you didn't get your pension check, if you didn't get your disabilities check to date. Please call us and let us know. Call us during the show, not after the show. Please call us and let us know. We will verify that information with the NIS and the relevant authorities so that if you're in that smaller batch, we will be able to hopefully help you out today so you can get some shopping done. And again, it is for pensioners or persons with a disability who did not get the check that was delayed for the last couple of days. I will repeat, Minister Jordan indicated that 99.9% of you would have received your checks. But we do have a small percentage of a little over 100 people still outstanding, and they're working on that today. But if you're one of those persons and during the show you did not see the postman or you saw the postman and he didn't come and bring you a check, call us 228-5563 or 228-5562. And you can also send us a WhatsApp message to 228-5562 and leave your comment there. But we want your phone calls regarding those checks. Today we have Mr. Anthony BRANKER, President of the Barbados Chamber of Commerce, on the year that they've had, their challenges and successes, and of course we want to hear about the outcome about that recent VAT one-day holiday. And later in the show we have Senior Fire Prevention Officer Natasha Ford, one of my favorite people. She joins us to remind us how we can protect our family. And you know, during this Christmas period, we get some house fires, and it's very important. So I'm hoping you're watching and listening. As always, our phone lines are open. As I said earlier, please call us 228-5563, 228-5562, or message us on WhatsApp to 228-5562. Or if you're watching via Facebook, type in CBC Barbados and leave your comments there. When we come back, we will be speaking to Mr. Anthony Branker after the break. Welcome back to Face It and Fix It. Our first guest, Mr. Anthony Branker, President of the Barbados Chamber of Commerce, is joining us today. We're obviously going to call on him for his wealth of knowledge pertaining to the retail and distributive sectors in Barbados, his observations for 2021, and what challenges that they had, what challenges did they have in 2021, and what can he tell us about the sector? Good morning, Mr. Branker.
Good morning, and how are you doing?
I am good. Season's greetings to you. Let me start off by saying that.
And likewise to you and yours.
Thank you. So, 2021 for the retail and distribution sectors in Barbados, what was that like for you guys?
Well, 2021 was a challenging year. If you cast your mind back, it was towards the end of 2020 that we had the bus crawl and then that outbreak. And so COVID really, as you would know, spiked, and we had a lot of shutdowns. We had persons who had to isolate. We had significant high numbers of persons in isolation. And clearly this affected the business community because we're the very persons who are either affected or in isolation are one, there are our employees, or two, there are customers. And therefore we had a very challenging year. As you know, there are certain sectors where tourists were not on island for a huge part of last year. So the hospitality section was severely affected. Those persons in the duty-free sales, they were also significantly affected. So the 2021 has been a challenging and difficult year for businesses, and you must applaud the business community for keeping their doors open and keeping persons employed.
I was about to ask you about how many businesses would close, but did we have some at least closing down or at least
There were
downsizing?
very few. There were very few, but obviously you're right. There would be some downsizing internally. You know, the face that the consumer sees is not necessarily uh, what actually happens in the business. So they would see things going on as normal, but a lot of adjustments were made on the back end in several businesses.
Okay, so you know that I have to mention, which will probably take us into 10, 15 minutes going through, the VAT holiday that we had on Monday. And what was that like? And we know that there was a cry about didn't give you all enough notice to put things in place. So was that a challenge for you when the notice came out? Did you hear that businesses were left scrambling to make these adjustments?
Yes, it was definitely a situation that we wouldn't want to go into that way again. Because certainly hearing about the VAT-free day on Saturday afternoon, it meant that we had to convene, you know, a meeting and understand what was actually expected of us. Because the information at that stage wasn't very clear if this was only at retail or was it also going to be at the distribution end. So we found out it was at only at the retail customer, you know, from a business to a customer. And we then had to make significant adjustments because certainly it meant that our IT systems had to be changed to effect that VAT-free day. But let me state up front though that the chamber and the business community fully supported the rationale behind having the VAT-free day, wanting to give persons the opportunity to shop and to benefit from cheaper prices. So we fully support that. I think we are still feeling the effects of it, some of the businesses, because Joyanne, let me explain this as slowly as possible. You change your computer system to say no VAT on these items, but while you are dispatching customers at the front of your store, you're also receiving items at the back of your store that the same computer system is recognizing as VAT free. However, the next day, those items have to be VATable. And therefore, now saying that what you received as VAT free on Monday is now VATable on Tuesday, and it has created quite a bit of headache because they now have to be entered manually. So we had a successful day, let me say that. Customers and businesses, I think, had a successful day, but it was fraught with issues before and after.
So the mere fact that, I mean, I don't know, I'm not an IT person, but I was told that, you know, once it's a point of sale machine, it was not difficult to process. But you're talking about not just the front end, you're saying that the back end too would have been an issue for those stores.
Yeah, Joyanne, it was not a simple transaction. Businesses actually had to, you know, consult with their IT support systems, even as far as Canada, in order to get this done. So there was additional cost to businesses just to execute this from the IT side.
Well, I was for the VAT-free day. Unfortunately, I didn't get to go out. I probably didn't want to, the crowds anyway. But there were some individuals, and I mentioned this on my last show, pensioners and persons who were waiting for disability checks that did not get the opportunity to enjoy that day. And
Yeah.
even though you said there were challenges, I wouldn't want it to be a deterrent because I'm advocating for the day to return specifically for pensioners and persons with disabilities who did not get the checks. Well, obviously, you would just have to put all in one group and make sure that we can do it again. So if we had to do it again, knowing what we know now, is it easier to implement?
Yes, but let me start by saying that the practicality of having a grouping, a sector of society receive VAT free, that is going to be very challenging. It is all of our customers or none, because at the point of sale, you can't there's no way to recognize a pensioner versus a person who's not yet at a pensionable age.
But what about a
But
BART card? In these cases, isn't that applicable? When you show a BART card, you get the discounts, and isn't it then doable at the point of sale?
no, VAT, as you know, is a legal register through the BRA. VAT is a legal transaction, is a legally imposed tax, and therefore to be selective in issuing it to some persons versus others will be quite a challenge. Um, we have learnt from last Monday, and therefore, if we had to go forward with VAT-free days, I think we can do it better. There are a lot of lessons that were learned. I even said in one part of the press that we should, rather than Black Friday, let us have VAT-free Fridays. So yes, I am advocating that we have VAT-free days going forward.
All right, but I just want to get back to that specific group and the challenges that you were talking about. Okay, I understand that VAT is one of those things you can't get away from. But if you have a BART card and you're given a discount, an adjustment is made there to facilitate the discount. So what if the VAT remains, but the discount becomes 17.5%, and then you work it out with government so you don't have then to interfere with your point of sale VAT section category. So let me just simplify it. I have a BART card, I present it, I get my percentage off. Nobody has to call anybody in the back end of the store to do it. It's standard because I get a discount. With the same card, can I not get a discount of 17.5% as normal? You still show your VAT, you show your discount, and then you work it out with the government as a VAT-free day that you don't pay VAT for what you sold on that day.
But you're doing it for those persons who present a BART card, as you said.
Well, a BART card or or person who is of pension age, which is their ID card. And persons with disabilities, they normally have some sort of identification to say who they are. So that is easy. That part is the easy part.
That is not, it is not so easy. And you have to put yourself in the context of retail across the board, because you're not saying one sector or another sector, you're saying all retail. So imagine that because now when a BART card, a person with a BART card comes to a supermarket, let's go into the supermarket sector. A BART card does not currently give you any discount in the supermarket. So and clearly there was a heavy demand on supermarkets. So when a person comes with a BART card to get a discount of the VAT off on that day, as a discount as you're referring, the only way to do that is via an override system, which is via a supervisor. But again, that is going to be challenging, because a person actually has to come and override each of those transactions if you're speaking of it as a discount.
Okay, so there's no discount. I have to go and get my BART card, so I really can't speak of. I'm 2 years late, and I promised Marilyn that I would be there. Actually, I was supposed to be there for my birthday that I just celebrated.
I'm sure if you didn't say that, persons would never have known.
Oh, well, I keep telling people I may not look 52, but my organs are telling me different. So you don't worry about what's on the outside. You got to worry about being healthy on the inside, and that's what really matters for sure. But I'm sorry if I stick into this, because I really would like for all of us to work something out for the vulnerable people who did not benefit. So even if it is not VAT or whatever it is, I feel really bad that a lot of people who did not get the checks in time did not benefit from that exercise. And those are the people that we would want to benefit from the exercise. But in addition to that, there are a lot of items in a supermarket that don't attract VAT.
Exactly.
And no one shared that information with members of the public. And I think that if they, in haste, I mean, because obviously it was something that came up like 2 days before it was implemented, that should have been shared with the public so that a mother would know, today I'm not picking up X, Y, and Z. I'm going to go for other things. And then maybe the next day, I'll pick that up and not having to rush. Yeah, so a lot of people felt that they were fooled, but it wasn't that they were fooled. No one thought about it to educate them or them even educate themselves. And I think moving forward, that is something that government needs to share a little bit
Yes,
more
Joy,
on
and
a
you
regular
see,
basis.
without the collaboration, without having the discussions where we could have highlighted the fact that, look, there was no, I said it to Minister Strawn, and I'm saying it here, there was no reason why we could not have collaborated on this, not knowing when the day would be launched. But we could have certainly had discussions about what would need to be put in place, how we could educate the public on what is vatable and what is not vatable, and be ready for it whenever he chooses or the prime minister chooses to call to say the date, they call it. But at the same point in time, we would have been ready and the public would have been educated on how they could benefit.
All right. So when we got to take a break shortly, but when we come back, I still want to talk about COVID. People are COVID tired, but as it relates to business and 2022, what are the plans for the future with this new variant? Are we going to stick to all of these protocols, and what would that mean for businesses when we come back after the break? Welcome back to Face It and Fix It. We are speaking with Mr. Anthony BRANKER, President of the Barbados Chamber of Commerce, and we are talking about 2022 now, and what does that mean for businesses in a COVID environment with a new variant called I call it Omicron. People could pronounce it as Omicron, tomato, tomato. What are we seeing or hearing in regards to the private sector? Retailers, I should say, and persons in the distribution departments. What is that going to look like in 2022? What are the plans?
Well, certainly we recognize that we can't let down our guard because the experience from 2021 definitely will help us as we go into 2022. We very much supported the government's appeal for safe zones, and we are constantly working at the social partnership level to try to have that established. But certainly we do expect and anticipate that there will be some level of testing that will be reintroduced for persons coming on the island. And therefore, it will be, we expect and anticipate that we may have some fall off, as our source markets continue to be challenged. But the private sector is definitely ready, and we've had the experience this year, so we know what we have to do to keep our doors open. And working along with government, we anticipate that we will have a challenging year, but we are hopeful that we have passed the worst and we know what we have to do, and therefore we can manage what 2022 has to throw at us.
So are you in agreement with government's protocols? Because I'm hearing, and I do have to confirm, that for tourists coming in now, it's not 3 days anymore to be tested to bring in a negative PCR test. It's 4 days. So my question is that we're seeing the rest of the world tightening up some of the restrictions. But again, I have to verify that. I only heard that this morning, that we are making some adjustments to our protocols, but it does not appear, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, that we are adjusting in the right direction if you are giving people a longer period to get a test done. What are your thoughts?
To use an old Bajan saying, we can't be penny wise and pound foolish. Clearly, the variants are the Omicron variant is very active, and we understand and know that as long as it starts to spread in Barbados, based upon how infectious it is, how transmissible it is, that it will affect the average Barbadian. And I think that we have to be precautious. We have to take precautions at our borders to ensure that even though we want the tourist dollar, even though we want persons to come and enjoy themselves in Barbados, I think we have to approach it with a level of caution so that we do not just open the floodgates and back up where we were in 2021. I think now is the time for us, immediately after we, as soon as we get into the new year, to look at how can we be a little more cautious at our borders so as not to allow persons just to come in without, having some type of testing mechanism put in place.
So we are hearing, again, as I said, this Omicron variant, I have some friends in England, that the lockdowns are starting all over again. People are scrambling a little bit this Christmas to do shopping. Online orders are mostly overloaded because, you can't go into the stores, or you're trying to avoid going into the stores, and deliveries are an issue. Did we have a lot of delays at the ports of entry in terms of goods for retailers? Because I found that on the shelves, you were hearing people saying, I didn't get this, I didn't get that this year, we're low on X, we're low on Y. I'm not saying I saw it a lot. There's just one or two places they were probably blaming maybe the shipping costs. Maybe they probably decided not to order it. Did we have those challenges in terms of ordering goods for Christmas?
Most definitely, Joyanne. As you know, the COVID pandemic has affected our supply chains. And so a lot of persons, as you just said, they had to make tough decisions. Why bring a product here and you have a 50% increase off of the shelf? So some tough decisions were made in terms of what persons would have for sale. But additionally, we had the situation where products just were not available in time for Christmas. Fortunately, the food section or the food sector has not been affected in a major way, but you would find that there are some items across the board, whether it is in food, whether it is in automotive, whether it is in personal care items, whether it is in clothing. There are some items that have been affected, but a lot, as you know, we import significant amount of all that we consume. And therefore the supply chain challenges, both by container loads, the shipping supplies that come by container, they have been the areas that have been significantly affected. Even though we may not be buying product direct from China, a lot of our product direct from China, the challenges in China and Asia, the increased freight costs have affected what we are buying out of the US as well. So we have been inundated with challenges from our supply chains. And now that we are seeing COVID, the Omicron variant affecting Europe, we anticipate that area, in terms of source market, will also have its challenges in the immediate future.
Okay, so we know that in 2020, we had to lock down from March 20, I think it was March 28th was the first lockdown. We relaxed all of the protocols, some of the protocols, I should say, and curfews later on in the year 2020. We had to bring them back in time for 2021. Yep. Right now, we're seeing the numbers going down a little bit, but there are not a lot of people testing too, so let's not be fooled. 2022, because most people said, oh my gosh, I can't wait for 2020 to finish, and then here came 2021, it was worse. 2022, I'm hoping, praying to God that it does not get worse. But do you see a possible lockdown, or would you all agree to a lockdown if the Omicron variant came here at a speed and moving at a speed, causing a lot of damage? Would you agree to that, the retailers, et cetera? Do you think that that's something they would, nobody wants that, but would more or less look at it as the best way forward, or is this something that we just have to live with and continue to work and live with it?
Certainly, the COVID-19, we have to live and work with it. But I think we will have to depend upon the professionals to make informed decisions on if, and depending on the spread and the community spread, I should say, depending on how widespread and how our healthcare institutions are overwhelmed and those type of things, I think we have to put our trust in our professionals that they will make the right decisions in terms of what is necessary. The business community obviously would not want to see that, but at the same point in time, we trust the individuals who will make those decisions in the best interest of saving lives and maintaining the type of livelihood that we as Barbadians take for granted, to tell the truth.
All right, and for sure, I can't let you leave without asking this particular question on behalf of all of the consumers in Barbados as it relates to the same taxes and the fact that shipping costs has gone up. Are you making an appeal, or are you in discussions with government as to how best we can lower the bill to the consumer in terms of having all of this passed on to us? The cost of living has gone through the roof. I don't expect it to get any better. I probably think it may get worse in 2022. But as president and the chamber, have you made a plea or coming up with some sort of plan to say, look, government, look, the problem is at the port. Can you ease us with the fees for the retailers so that we can reduce our prices at the supermarket, et cetera? Is there anything at all that you're doing to help us afford to support these businesses?
Yes. Joya, let me say that from the time we saw the significant rise in freight prices out of the Far East and all over the world, I can tell you that the Chamber has been leading along with the entire private sector at the social partnership level to indicate and to give options to government as to how we can reduce prices to the average Barbadian consumer. We know, I can tell you that government has before it a proposal to look at how possibly we can pay duty not on the high freight, but examine the best tool, the best way that we can pay freight on the pre-COVID prices. So there are proposals before government. We have discussed them. I can tell you that Minister Strawn and our Control of Customs have worked hard to look and identify the areas where freight costs have increased and at what rate they have increased. So we are expecting to hear back from Minister Strawn in the very near future as to what would be where importers, would be able to pay duties on what rate of freight so that we can see a reduction in the prices to consumers. So we are waiting actually to hear from Minister Strawn on that.
I can see that government, in light of massive job losses, I mean, I say massive because I believe that it's the most we've ever seen in a long time as a result of the pandemic. Government, I find, is sort of pushing people in the direction of vending and selling and setting up their own little businesses, etc. Is this island big enough to do that with the fact that we only have just over 250,000 people? And if everybody sets up something to sell, then, who are we going to sell to? Because, there's still a limit. We encourage people to set up businesses, but there's still a limit. I often wonder when I see so many vendors on the streets, and I know everybody's hustling for a dollar, and I respect that. People set up outside people's stores selling the same thing. Okay, to say that, competition is healthy. But at some point, if we keep doing it and it goes crazy, then nobody, who we can buy from, because we're all selling.
But you see, Joyanne, the challenge is how do you determine who will and who will not sell? So you have to allow the free market to the free market and the free market forces to continue to thrive. Because the truth is, you or I may not observe how many people would have started and how many would have dropped out. So market forces will add, and market forces will drop some of the weaker ones, and therefore it is your offering, it is the service, it is the pricing, and we have to allow those things to dictate who will survive in the vending section, in the retail sector, and not get into picking and choosing who will and who will not.
Okay, well, we do have about 2 minutes to spare, and I'm going to leave some final words with you, ending the year, coming into the new year, and your final thoughts as president of the Chamber of Commerce.
Well, thank you, Joya, for this opportunity this morning. The Chamber has continued to be quite a busy organization. 2021 was very challenging. There have been quite a number of areas that the Chamber has been called upon to jump in and to lobby. But 2022, we've had a lot of takeaways from 2021. And therefore, we approach 2022 with the same level of confidence that we are ending 2021. The government has clearly been a partner to the private sector association, to ourselves, and we look forward to closer collaboration with government, asking them to take us into their bosom as our partners, so that we can work even closer together as we plan for the difficult time ahead. So I approach 2021 representing the Chamber and its members with confidence that we have the experience to ride any storm that we should face.
Well, I want to thank you so much for that, and I pray that 2022 will be better for all health-wise, but certainly on our pockets, because January is soon upon us. And when we spend all that money in December, not only will we be suffering, but the retailers would be too, because not a lot of people shop in January. So hopefully people spend, and they spend wisely and not just spend for the sake of spending. I want to thank you so much. When we come back after the break, we will speak to Natasha Ford. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Joyanne. Okay. God bless.
Thank you. So when we come back, we will be speaking to Natasha Ford, Senior Fire Prevention Officer. We'll be taking your calls, 228-5563 or 228-5562. Remember, we do want to help persons who may not have received their check as yet, a pensioner or person who's receiving disability benefits. $300 each at Sky Mall and Massey's Supermarket today. So let us know, or let us know if you know someone that would need that assistance. We will be back after the break. Issues with your NIS checks or disability checks. We do have a caller on the line. We had a few, but we were obviously speaking to Mr. Anthony BRANKER. So we're going to welcome this caller on the show. Good morning.
Hi, good morning. How are you doing?
I am good. What about you?
Well, I'm humble and thankful that I have life, I haven't received my check yet. It's been a long, hard week, but I'm giving thanks nonetheless.
Which check is this? Is this pension or disability check?
It's a disability check.
And it normally come around, what, the 15th of the month?
Well, yeah, usually it does, yes.
So how have you been coping and managing in the absence or the delay with this money?
Well, I know things happen. I know this is a system that we're dealing with, and sometimes the system breaks down, so I'm trying to deal with it as best as I could and cope with it as best as I could. Because I'm a sick anemia, and it's been very hard for the past few weeks. But by the grace of the Almighty, I'm holding firm.
You live alone?
Yes, please.
Okay. All right. Well, today, what we will do, we will take your name and information off air, and you will have to walk with your ID, come with your ID card to Massey in Sky Mall, and you will be allowed to $300 worth of groceries. But before we do that, we will verify with the relevant agency that this check is a check that is indeed waiting and that you will not get it today. So we do have to do our checks and balances quickly, and we do have people on standby to go through that. Okay? So once we get that cleared, we will be able to give you a call back to let you know that you are a case of a further delay of a check, receiving a check, and that we will help you. So let us get that done. Make sure you leave your name and number with your producer so that we can verify that you are indeed a person who is waiting for a disabilities check. And I'm really sorry that you have to go through this, and I hope that it helps a little bit.
Thank you very much. You have a blessed and wonderful day. And Merry Christmas to you and a prosperous 2022.
And likewise, my friend, likewise. Thank you so much. Thank you. Well, that said, we do encourage you to call. We do have some callers that we can only do two persons. And as I said earlier, I spoke to Minister Jordan, and he did indicate that a lot of people got their checks. Probably 99% of them. There were about 100 and some waiting, and that is expected to be processed today and delivered today. But if not, we are here on standby to lend assistance to at least two people. He said it was a glitch in the system, and it set NIS back by 4 working days. They were able to rectify most of the problem that they had, a majority of it, the problems that they had, but they're still having 1 or 2 issues. And it is sad that it had to happen around this time of year in particular, but hold strain. Hopefully you will get your check if you have not gotten it already. So we will be speaking to Natasha Ford, and she's joining us from the fire service. Senior Fire Prevention Officer, one of my favorite people. Love to hear from her. Natasha, are you there with us? Okay, Natasha is not here with us as yet, but when she comes, I can tell you that house fires usually quite common around this time of year, and you need to be very careful. We're going to be asking her about the do's and the don'ts. I also read somewhere too where the fire chief Maynard had urged persons to refrain from burning stuff, because we know we always like to get rid of some of the old things, and you don't want to wait for SSA, but that's a no-no. I understand that you do need some sort of permit anyway to do things like that. So be considerate this Christmas. Don't burn your stuff, your garbage, and impact others. In addition to that, I was also told informed by the fire chief in an article that those brown extension cords, and the guy just bought one, and Kathy, if you're watching, plug it out, because it's not that they're not good. Apparently they're not supposed to be on carpets. They're not made for that. Brown extension cords, and I was a little surprised. Do not use extension cords on carpets. Oh, somebody was telling me brown extension cords. Let's see, especially those brown ones, it says. Those are not designed for that. So when Natasha comes, perhaps she can explain to us the difference between the brown extension cords and the white extension cords. But you're not supposed to use extension cords and run along your furry mat if it's just a mat, or your carpet. If it's a carpet, do not do that, in particular the brown extension cords. And I just bought a brown extension cord. So Kathy, if you're watching and you're home with my daughter Sky, plug it out and just put it one side until I come home and decide what I am going to do with it. Again, we know we're baking a lot. We know we want to go to church. The protocols have been lifted, the curfew, I believe, in order to facilitate that. Do not leave things in your oven baking and thinking that you're just coming back in an hour. Be mindful of that. Do not do like me and push too many things in one plug or extension cord sockets. I don't know if it is that. They have 3. So I assume you should be able to use all 3. But what happens is if you use all 3, especially for Christmas lights, so you're plugging in, and then the other plug has another set of holes to plug in that one, and then you're joining and joining and joining. So you've also got to be careful with that. I also am mindful of live Christmas trees. And if you've ever seen a dry live, a live Christmas tree that was chopped down, because it's not live anymore, if you've ever seen them burnt, it's like a bonfire. So be very careful with the Christmas tree lights. Make sure you test them and that they're not old. Because if you have a live tree, they burn really fast. It's like fireworks, like a bonfire. So to those persons with those live pine trees that you got from all the various places that cost an arm and a leg, be careful when you do that. I want to make sure that before the end of this show, and if I don't get a chance, because sometimes you run out of time, to wish all of our viewers and listeners a safe and happy and peaceful Christmas season from all of us in the production team, in particular people like Peter Allen, who works pretty hard, not just for this show, but for the link up, which will hopefully be on tomorrow. And if she could whisper in my ears to confirm that it will be on tomorrow, Christmas Eve. If not, okay, it's Peter Allen, and they're confirming that the link up will be on tomorrow, Christmas Eve. Better you than me, Peter Allen, because I have a lot to do. Maybe you can call us and let us know if you're getting through with your Christmas cleaning. I saw a video last night with Stephanie Chase. I don't know if you're aware of Stephanie Chase from the Chase Files. She has a blog on Facebook, and I believe she also is in education. She's in education, I believe. She did a video with paint in her hair, looking a little bit off, and she just said she was so tired of Christmas. And every year that she says that she would not do this, and she would not, put yourself out there to go overboard because you burn out. So she said that she was done, and I laughed last night because I said to her, and this was like at 1 o'clock in the morning, everybody's up. And I said, well, this is your sister here. I'm up, no sleep the night before because I'm busy cleaning. No, I blame my mother, and good morning to you, Mom, because we grew up pulling down an entire house, and I mean the whole house, to the point that if you walk through there, you're going to fall down because things are always in the way. So you want to caution people that if you're coming to my house or anybody's house around Christmas, don't look for an opportunity to sit down in a chair, because everything either turn down, turn around, or sheet cover over it. The usual traditional ways of what we do in Barbados for our Christmas season. So I started in October, well, September really, and then I started October 1st officially because another radio station was playing Christmas music every day, and I kind of had my countdown on. but I can tell you I am burnt out. I still have rooms to clean, and I don't know what you're doing all now, and I hope you're getting through with your Christmas cleaning. My makeup artist Satya told me this morning, Joy, you know, leave the house, go and do something for yourself. And so I decided that today I may just sit down for like a half hour, have a beverage, and a cold beverage and not a warm one, by the beach, and just take in life. And I would love to suggest that to all of you, because it is one day. We're losing the reason for the season. I am too, because, you know, I think it's all about dressing up the house, and sometimes I forget, but it really isn't. And it's about giving and caring. And those of you who are Christian that recognize the holiday, obviously you then join that with the birth of our Lord Jesus Christ. And this is why we celebrate. People do it for other reasons. I do it for both, because I figure that, okay, if it's Jesus' birthday, he'd want us to do, you know, give, not just receive. So, but I get excited because my daughter normally is, and I do this for her. If I didn't have children, I probably would not. So that is what Christmas means to me. What does it mean to you? You can tell us, you can write to us if you like, if not today, maybe for our next show, which, by the way, on Monday is a bank holiday, so we will not be having Face It and Fix It. We will start back on Thursday, where we will be looking at the year review, in particular about crime in this country and COVID. And speaking of crime, I want to urge you all again to please be careful out there. I put something on my Facebook page pertaining to a neighborhood watch. I mentioned it on my last show. I'm begging you, if you got neighbors and they got cell phones, set up a group chat, share your number, so that if anything unusual happens, somebody will be able to message the chat and the information will go out there. I've also said I will make an appeal to the Barbados Light and Power, and maybe we can try to see if we can get permission to put up cameras on our street in Union, so that we will have some further surveillance. I personally am not waiting on the system to get better. I think that as citizens that we have to do a lot for ourselves, that government cannot do all. And if you're waiting for government to do something about somebody breaking in somewhere or with guns, you're gonna have to wait a while, because that process takes a long time to pull back a society that we need to be able to sort of manage a little bit better. And I think that is something that needs to be fixed. More attention needs to be paid on crime. I'm very, very passionate about it, because I have my daughter, I have my family, and all of you do too. And none of us want anyone coming and taking our lives for stupid reasons, or for breaking into our house because they refuse to work and they want what's yours more than you want it. I think that is a no-no. Yesterday I saw some police officers. They actually visited the area and they were circling and doing their patrols. I want to say good morning to the gun unit in Spikestown and to the team. I butt into some of them last night as they were making their patrols. I felt very safe, but again, the police not going to be at your house 24/7. I was lucky that I was paid a visit, and nothing was happening in the area that caused them to come. And that is the type of community outreach that we want to see our police officers doing more of, so that we can build better relationships with them. On another note, we know that in news of a police officer who was not found guilty to receive charges on an incident, that was also in the news. And again, I want to urge Barbadians, if you're not part of the investigation, you don't know the ins and outs of why someone may not have been charged, you can't weigh in on it, or you shouldn't weigh in on it, because we don't know. We don't know what happened with certain things. So we're always in the media, or should I say doing our own media research and our investigations, putting it on Facebook as to what should and shouldn't happen to an individual. I saw that case, what happened in the outcome. Obviously your heart will go out to those who have lost loved ones as a result, but we don't know the circumstances as to why It went the way it went, and we cannot assume that someone should have gone to trial without the information. If a judge felt that it was not enough information to go by in order to carry out a case, for a case to actually go to court, I should say, then they know something that we don't. But it doesn't take away from the fact that we do have a crime problem. In my opinion, there's too many guns on the streets, too many people are angry, too many people are fighting, too many people are stabbing in a society that only has about 280, close to 300,000 people. And I would like for our Attorney General at some point join us on this show, and the Police Commissioner, the PRO for the Barbados Police Service, to please come and tell us what are the plans for 2022. What are we going to do? What should we do as citizens? I've already said my 2 cents about a neighborhood watch, and I am hoping that we all comply and we set up a neighborhood watch and we look out for each other and not wait for the police. We do have a young lady who wanted to get in this morning, Charmaine. I do not have her last name, but I'll get it. Charmaine Roland Bowen is on the line. Good morning, Charmaine.
Good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning to your audience. Yes.
Good morning.
Good morning. Yes, my take today is that I am a widow. I am also a pensioner. Because I'm a widow, I'm a pensioner. And one of our concerns is that we received our pensions, after most of us. Some of us probably before, but I could speak for myself, and there are others like me who would have received our pensions after the VAT date, which would have been, let's say, the VAT-free date, which would have been Monday. So what we were thinking of, we are appealing to the authorities, the government, the Chamber of Commerce, whoever can help us, if they can extend that privilege to us now that we have our checks, because, we really lost out. And this is Christmas, and we know a lot of us depend, as widows and so on, depend on that pension, and even a little bit, because it would have been able to stretch a little further. And all of us, almost every person like to get a piece of ham at Christmas. If there's one day in the year that you want to eat, that is Christmas. So I am appealing, to the authorities, whoever can help us, if they can extend that privilege to us so that we can cash our check, and get the same discount that persons would have been given on Monday. Failing that, there's another thing that we would request, and that is if we can get, a little additional on our check, for the coming year in January, because January is another hard month for us as well, almost every person. But if we cannot be fit in, if we can have it in our next check for the new year, so that we will not be left out, because definitely we really depend on that money, and the little additional to make our money stretch. These are hard times, and where elderlies are concerned. We would have lost a lot of elderly folks this year. It was a hard year for the whole of Barbados, but at least this would brighten up, the closing of the year or even the beginning of the 22.
I endorse that 1,000,000,000%, because I mentioned it on my show on Monday. I went to my social media page and I made an appeal to government, and I'm glad to hear that you have the same train of thought. I do believe that other people feel the same way too, but as we heard from the Chamber of Commerce just now, it's not saying that it cannot be done. It's just saying that it was a little bit challenging, but as he indicated that they did it already, which happened on Monday. It happened on Monday, and they might be able to hopefully do it again, lessons learned. But I think our seniors, as you rightfully said, we had a rough year. A lot of deaths are elderly, going from COVID. They can't go out. You know what I mean? They're not getting visits. They felt this more in this environment more than anybody, them and the
Yes.
disabled community.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I feel that whatever you have to do to make this happen, whether it's the government, the Chamber of Commerce, the retailers, whatever you have to do to make it happen, it can happen. It's doable.
Yes.
It's not something that is beyond our reach. We did it. We pulled it off. It might have been difficult, but anything that
Where there's a will, there's a way. Where there is a will, there's always a way. And nothing
I
is
agree.
impossible, especially where God is concerned. So I thank you for this opportunity.
Can I ask you before you go quickly though, when you said what organization are you president of again?
Oh, I wear 2 hats, but this
Okay.
hat that I'm wearing this morning is, because people might know it from the Barbados Road Safety Association, but I am a widow. My husband would have died in 2013. So, just after I would have gotten over that, I would have started an organization looking out for women, widows, and because I know, as being a widow, I know how we are overlooked, how we are unfeared, we are taken advantage of, and, I just wanted to help them, and I have been doing that, even though I do it on my own, I have been doing it, and just helping, especially at Christmas time and throughout the year, we often, because I know what it is like to lose someone. I know when friends are there at the beginning. I know when they turn their backs on you, they want to hear you. I know all of that because I went through it. And I am here, I always give support, to individuals. And hope to leading them to Christ because I'm a devout Christian. I do believe the Bible tells us the case of the widow, Isaiah 1 verse 17. And to look out for the less vulnerable. And Jesus obviously for the less of these. And we fall into that category. So I try to help in any way that I can.
Well, God bless you. And I'm hoping that you
Thank
can
you.
come back on our show as a guest and speak about
Definitely, I
the
would
other
love
hat
to.
that you wear and this hat, because this sounds like a very interesting group.
I would love to.
It's a very interesting group for widows to lend some support to widows. But
Yeah.
again, before you go, I just want you to repeat in like a minute the appeal that you're making now to government on behalf of senior citizens and persons with disabilities. Could you just repeat that again?
Yes, I am making appeal, not to leave us. We have been left out, but this is an opportunity that we can be included even going forward, because that discount that we would have lose out on, it would mean a lot. It might be a little to some people, but it's to us who depend on government, who depend on pensions. It is a lot to us. And if they can make a way, they can find a way, they can allow us, to use our pension check, especially at the supermarket, because I believe that everyone has to eat, and food is a necessity. If we can even use it at the supermarket, we would be grateful to get this discount because it would stretch more, we can be able to buy more. And, please, we're asking, please, consider us.
Okay, and I want to thank you very much. And with that, between now and Thursday, our next show, we're going to get a list of the items that do not attract VAT in the event that if they do say yes, our seniors would know, listen, don't pick up that and that and that because that already don't have VAT. Pick up other things. But I want to thank you so much. And God bless you. And Merry Christmas, okay?
Thank you. And of
All
course,
right.
I will be back. Okay? Bye-bye.
Okay, thank you too. Thank you.
Too. Bye-bye.
We have another caller before we have Natasha Ford. Good morning. Face it and fix it. My apologies. I'm a little tired. You're on the air.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Greetings to you, my dear.
And Caesar's greetings to you.
Just want to make a brief comment. Isn't recently in this year that the Trinidad and Tobago government asked Barbados police for assistance? Isn't recently in this year that the Trinidad and Tobago government asked Barbados police for assistance to investigate a case of their own? It was in the news.
Say that again, sir. Say that again.
Is it this year, just a couple of months ago, the Trinidad and Tobago government asked Barbados for assistance with the police officer to investigate a case concerning their own.
I'm not quite sure. I would have to research that.
Yeah, it was in the news. You know,
No, I would have to research it. I didn't hear it myself, and if I did, it hasn't resonated with me long enough for it to stick in my brain, but I would have to go back to it.
My question is, why it is that Barbados couldn't call in outside police out of the government from outside, one of our Caribbean neighbors, for assistance to investigating this case that just recently hit headlines. I think that would have been the best thing to do for the nation of Barbados and for the family of the man. I think that would have been the best way, because this situation could don't want nothing going on, and he want outside investigation. So I think that's the best way to. That's all I got to say this morning.
Well, I think that the entire region should get together as far as law enforcement is concerned when it comes to fighting guns and crime, etc. I think people need help, and the more the merrier, but I don't know the specifics of that, so I might not be able to comment on it any further. But I want to thank you so much for your call. We do have Natasha Ford after coming up on the break, and I'm just going to fix my little earpiece that seems to be wanting to slip out all of the time, and I'm going to get that sorted out during the break. We'll be back after the break. Welcome back to Face It and Fix It. My next guest is a favorite person of mine. I don't know personally. I met her through the show, and very informative. And every time she speaks, I listen, and I have to, because I constantly mess up when it comes to leaving my cell phone plugged in, which I confessed that on air months ago when I left it on the bed plugged in and came all the way down to the show. I didn't have my cell phone, and then the fire service happened to be on like minutes after I made that announcement. And now that she's coming, I'm now being told about a brown extension cord, or extension cords period, that we shouldn't use, and I go on and buy a brown cord, and now I'm hearing that we should not really use the brown extension cords across carpets. But tell us more about the do's and the don'ts during this Christmas season as it relates to fires is none other than Natasha Ford, Senior Fire Prevention Officer. Welcome.
Good morning, and thank you very much again for the opportunity to speak to the general public.
Well, we can get into a few things that I messed up about, but I got a lot of questions. As I said to our viewers and listeners, every time you come on, it's like I mess up on something that I should not be doing. Before it was the cell phones plugged in. Now it's with the brown extension cord. I just went to pick up one, And I'm thinking, dear Lord, can I not get this right? But look back for us. I know we're not completely out of 2021, but so far, can you tell us about 2021 as it relates to fires?
Okay, well, as much as the public will be saying to themselves, we've been seeing an increase in fires, I'm happy to report that although it would have seemed that way to you, the numbers are actually decreasing. Yes, we would have had some fires earlier during the year, especially the residential fires, which would have started out in the December period. And we had thrown out a challenge out there for persons, if we could go December free without any residential fires, that we would have been absolutely blessed by this. And we were looking to make a donation to a charitable organization. But as you know, working in the press, December started off quite.
I think that I've
for
seen
some
here in the
reason.
report the first 9 days of December, we
Yes.
had about how many? I'm going to get it here but in the first 9 days of December, we have 5 house fires apparently in the first 9 days of December.
Very
And
much so. I don't have my statistician with me. He is on vacation
That's
as
all
well. So again, this stats
our
for you.
statistician, Peter Ali, provided some little information here for me. Bless her soul. So we got a little bit. We got a little bit. So tell us. So continue to tell us.
Right. So again, because I don't have all the supposed cause of those fires, but as we said, majority of fires always start out because of human error. Carelessness in some cases, persons not being aware of what they're doing or not paying particular attention to what they're doing. Now, I heard you talking about your Bronx extension cord, and these are one of the things, again, that we don't advocate for. If it is the case that you need to have an extension cord, remember, it is a temporary supply. It is not for long-time usage.
What?
Persons buy an extension cord.
Wait. Hold up. We don't have an
Yes.
outlet every spot in the house. So when you realize, especially when you're renting like me, I go come and make do away fine. So if the TV so and I want to put it so, and they my landlord is putting in the plugs, extra outlets for me. I've been running extension cords for the aquarium, for Sky, for one or two things. I know. So what you want me to do? Put in, get outlets installed?
You hurt me when it comes to these things.
I'm sorry.
All right, so let me take this step by step. I'm here to offer solutions.
Yes.
So for persons out there who have been using extensions for periods over a year, let me start really basic. Over 4 months. Because an extension is basically only supposed to be a temporary supply used at least 4 months optimum. If that's you're running it directly from day to day. And it's not supposed to be a day-to-day usage either. As I said, it's supposed to be a temporary fix. Now, for those persons, as I said, who are renting or homeowners who recognize, well, at this point in time, I have a television this place or I have an aquarium this area and I need an electrical outlet going there. It is not always the case that you have to go and break through that wall to get an electrical outlet put to the place that you want. There's something called trunking. Technology, use it. There's something called trunking. So get the electrician come in, and I am not an electrician, but I've seen it. He goes, he picks up from a certain point, whether it be another plug, whether it be another outlet somewhere. He makes his attachment from there. He can run trunking for you, run the wires through that trunking. So therefore, you're not seeing that electrical outlet either. And he can put a plug on the surface for you. That is more of a temporary solution there. The thing is now is to make sure that if you're going to do that, that you're still not overloading the circuit. So that's why it's important to have a certified electrician come in and do that for you. So again, it's Christmas. We know persons are going to be using extension cords, but please be mindful. It is for a temporary period. When you're finished, you're supposed to plug it out. You're not supposed to be running it on the carpets either, because the thing is with that, if you're walking back and forth on that carpet, there's something called abrasion, which means you're not seeing what's happening to those wires inside of there. Now picture it. You have the electrical outlets inside this casing. You're walking back and forth, and it's creating friction. If there's breakage inside of there, you cannot see it. And if there is an electrical surge, now you have that electrical extension, you have it running under the carpet, which is flammable. That's a recipe for disaster. And we do not want to have any more house fires at this point in time. So for those persons, I would say, and I had my best friend next to me not too long,
Benny.
if you are going to, not Benny this time,
Oh no. Oh
but
there. Uh-huh.
I have been
Oh
begging
yes.
persons to invest in something called a fire extinguisher. And you know what? If you have a small fire at home, this is your best bet on extinguishing that fire. Now, remember, I said small fires. This is your best bet on
Small
extinguishing that
fire,
fire. You
not
want,
doesn't matter how it started, if it's small, if it's electrical,
if
oil.
it's a small fire, electrical fire, and I think I went through the classes of fire on here
Yeah,
already.
you
So
could
we have
yeah.
ordinary combustibles and such like paper, wood, cloth, things that we would normally
That
find
that
inside
can
the
work.
home. That can work.
Where
Also, your
can I get one of
flammable
these
liquids and
today, by the
gases.
way, so I don't forget? Where can I get one of these like, today when I leave here?
Good, and I'm glad you asked that question. You can purchase one of these. We have Place Safety Supply, we have Carib Supply, we have Regional Fire and Security. We also have Pyramid. There are some others, but those are the ones that I know that I've seen in many organizations. And because I'm saying organizations, I want to stick a point there. A lot of persons think that these are only for businesses, that they cannot go out there and they cannot purchase an extinguisher for their home. I want you to today to realize that that is a myth. The same way businesses need to secure themselves, you as a homeowner, you also need to secure yourself. So I would admonish anyone, give yourself the gift of a fire extinguisher today.
I'm actually started the fire service themselves don't actually have some available for sale. I mean, because I was just saying that that would be a good way too, to interact with the public if you can have
It
a
is right.
few.
But the thing is, what we do is if persons go there and persons by them they need advice on where the best place to locate them, we provide that service. And also going along with that, we have the smoke alarm.
Oh dear
And
Lord.
persons with a oh yes. So if you
No,
do
no.
not
You
have
know
a
why I
smoke
said, "Oh dear
alarm,
Lord"? I picked up batteries from my smoke. You see, Lord, I mean, I really mean this because I might be smiling, but I pray to God that I never experience a house fire. You see those things? Those things are so important. A whole year I
yeah.
had mine off. A whole year. Only last
Oh,
night at 2 o'clock in the morning, I went through the drawer, I have them there. I had batteries, I bought the batteries, and I said,
mm-hmm.
I have to put these back up on two of them. And I'm going to do that today because I'm so glad you showed that because it was making a noise because the battery needed changing. So you just hear this beep,
Yes.
beep, 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 and this thing was so irritating. Instead of Joanne going and buy a battery, Joy decided to just take it down. And a whole year passed. I didn't put it back up.
And that is another trick that we teach persons out there. Now, do not. Yes, it is annoying, like most things are, because it keeps chirping all the time, as you would have heard the noise to allow you to know, you know what, my batteries need to be replaced. It doesn't function without batteries. And most of the time we say, like, change your batteries at least twice a year. Um, just like when daylight saving time goes back, if you want to change your batteries with that, if you want to change them, say, okay, fine, I put in a new one January, come June, July, I put another one in. It's up to you how you go about it. But the thing is to recognize, do not change that battery or do not take out the battery until you have bought another one to replace it. Because chances are, just like you did, once you take out that battery, life happens and we tend to forget things. And that is exactly what took place with you. Life happened. So you went about, you forgot about the smoke alarm and there was offering no protection. It was just an ornament in the house at that point in time. So homeowners, businesses, whoever, again, it goes hand in hand with the extinguisher. That is your first alert. If anything is happening within the environment, because of the loud noise that it makes. Um, It would obviously wake you if you're sleeping, if you're doing something else. It grabs your attention because of noise, and that's what it was designed to do. So do not, even when the battery becomes low, you hear that chirping, leave it. When you go, you know that you need to buy a battery. And it is then when you have bought that battery, and you know what, it's chirping for a reason to remind you. So when you silence it, it's like silencing a child. A child reminds you when they want something, and they will do it over and over and until they get it. So it's basically like the same thing with the alarm. My daughter, I can't silence her. She's going to just keep going until, you know what? Okay, yes, we've sorted the problem out. So just think of it that way.
Well, I want to get back to the extension cord, though, which, by the way, is as important as a bottle of gas in somebody's house.
Yeah.
But we have a call. We have a call. I'm sorry, but 1 second, Natasha. We have a call coming in, and we have to take it. My apologies for keeping the person waiting. Face it and fix it. You're on the air. We lost the. That's my fault. You see, when you start talking to you just get really, deep into it because there's so much information, and I hope the person calls back, and we do apologize for that. But the extension cord story, what I was just saying is as important as a bottle of gas in somebody's house.
Agreed.
A lot of Bajans use extension cords, and not necessarily in a temporary way. I see people charging the cell phones constantly because the ports, the cable is short. So when you want to be somewhere and you want to be, you're plugging it in, you're plugging it in, and then you're plugging it into an extension cord. So to hear that we are really supposed to be using this as an everyday use. We got the phone call back. We're going to stop right here and take this call. Good morning.
Yes, hello, good morning to both of you and CBC staff. I like to listen to the program. It's very informative, and I like to really listen to it. I hear just now you talk about brown extension cord, and I get up the same very time and I went and I called my son because I have a brown extension cord plug-in. My TV is plugged into it, and my phone is plugged into it. But why I use the extension cord is because I am unable to get around as I like. My 2 feet just give me trouble. So I wanted to know now, since I have it plugged in, I can't unplug it. If I unplug, I won't get any TV. I won't get any I won't get the thing from the phone. So I wanted to know if I could like stay in at least back over the holidays. Over the holidays, I want to know if I could like stay in. And another thing too, I heard the lady say that you should only have them in at least about 3 to 4 months. And
4 months. 4 months maximum.
Pardon me?
4 months maximum.
Right. And right now, my gun under a small cap I have in front of my bed, 6 feet. It could be 6 by 4, and my gun under the carpet and plugged in, like gone under the carpet and under my bed.
Oh.
So, what is the best color then extension cord? Because it says you don't use the brown one.
You don't use any to plug in under the carpet.
You don't use any.
The thing is, we're not going according to color code. All of the extensions.
Okay.
I'm trying to remember extensions, extinguishers. All of the extensions, what you're supposed to realize is that they're rated. They carry a certain amount of voltage, and what you're supposed to do, that's where you're supposed to make checks. Sometimes we just go and we see an extension cord, we know that we need an extension, we pick up any extension. We don't bother about the voltage of the that the extension can carry. We don't check to see if it's for indoor purposes, this is for outdoor purposes. Those are things that we don't commonly take into consideration, and I'm trying to educate persons on. So you would need to identify why you need the extension cord, what it is that you're looking to plug in and such, and to recognize, if it carries the amount of voltage, if it has the amount of, if it regulates the amount of voltage that the appliance or whatever you're going to be using, if it can handle that.
Yeah, well, I only have.
But in terms of color code, it could be white, it could be gray, it could be brown.
But in fact, what was concerning me though, she has it running under the carpet, under the bed. That part
exactly. That is scary. And you know, we have this saying, what doesn't happen in a year can happen in a day.
So, you know.
So I will say to you, count yourself lucky, but now that you have been educated, sometimes when we are educated and we know better, we should do better.
We should do, that is
So
true.
I understand you might not be able to do it right away, but put yourself in a position, as I said, talk to electrician if you can get somebody to do that trunking, because you would have had the extension plug at a certain point. If they can run the trunking from that point to where you need it.
Okay.
See if that can
But you
work
have,
for you.
I think she said you had a son. You have a son, you said?
Yeah, my son, he is who buy it for me.
Well, ask your son at least the one that underneath the bed, on the thin carpet, if you can at least shift it off of the carpet or from under the carpet away from the carpet, at least.
Yeah.
At least.
The reason why I put it under the carpet is because I have my 2 feet just give me trouble. So I put it under the carpet that if I had to scotch, my foot won't scotch into it to form me or anything. Because if my foot, I can't get up, right? But listen to you all, thankful for this program. I would talk to him and see if he could make some kind of alteration. If he had to take it from off of the carpet and like nail it, you know. And so
Not nail it, not nail it. Maybe tape it. Maybe tape it with a little duct tape, but not or electric. Don't put the nails.
No staples, nothing like that.
Okay.
Nothing like that, okay?
Yeah, I appreciate the.
Listen, little scotch tape,
Yeah.
could work, okay? Little scotch tape, little duct, or even electrical tape to tape it on.
Right. Anyhow, I thanks so much for the advice, and I appreciate it so much, and we all need to listen, and obey.
Okay, thank you so much. Merry Christmas, love.
Yeah, thank you. I was grateful. I'm grateful that I was able to listen in and to get through. Thanks a lot.
Okay, thank you too.
Jesus bring his to you.
Natasha, we're going to have to take a quick break, and we'll be right back. Quick break. We'll be back. Welcome back to Face It and Fix It. We are speaking with Senior Fire Prevention Officer Natasha Ford. And before the break, we were talking about those long extension cords, etc. We do have a WhatsApp about surge protectors for you. And we will put it up on the screen in a second. People maybe want to know, and I would like to know too, the difference between the two, because the surge protectors I can keep plugged in for a long time, I would imagine. They're saying here, what about surge protectors? Are they also temporary? Is there a difference with so many versions available?
All right, so we need to distinguish between a surge protector and a multi-strip outlet. And in most cases, yes, I have been in stores and I've seen those multi-strip outlets and they have the word surge protectors written on them. Now, this is sad because then what it tends to do, it misleads people. And persons argue with me, say, but I went and I bought a surge protector. And then when you look at it, you recognize, no, it's just a multi-strip outlet. With the surge protector, you can keep it plugged in. You can just plug it in, leave it, forget it, basically. With the multi-strip outlet, all that does for you is it offers you additional outlets where you can plug appliances and your phones, chargers, whatever devices into. Now, with this surge protector, as the name suggests, surge. So if there's a surge in the area within your district or whatever, within your home, what it does is that it regulates the voltage going to your sensitive equipment. It doesn't get that sudden shock that tends to short circuit. No more than often we hear persons talking about if electricity goes off and it comes back on suddenly, either going off, they talk about their televisions or stoves, fridge not coming back on, not working. That's because of that sudden surge. With the, as I said, with the surge protector, it regulates the voltage. It keeps it on one flat plane. Now, the way electricity works, as you would see with, if you're watching those documentaries with doctors and such, like persons on the ECG monitor, you will see heart rates up and down, like peaks. And that is basically what the same thing with electricity. It does not run on a smooth, flat plane. With the multi-strip outlet, you don't get that protection. So once that surge hits, that is it. All that has is an off and on light. With the surge protector now, you would see that there are normally two lights. There's the power light, which is red, and then there's a ground light, which allows you to know that it is functioning. And I think that's the best way, or outside of speaking to the persons within the retail store where you're probably purchasing it from, that is the best way that I can say to you to identify the difference between a surge, and I'm sorry that I don't have with me to differentiate the difference between the surge protector and the multi-strip outlet.
You just shocked me because I was actually going to bring one this morning because I wanted to ask, what is these two lights you talking about? 'Cause I only know about one switch, red.
And that's the multi-strip outlet.
No way, that had on surge protector on it. It has one light. I sure half of Barbados who listening know will tell you that they picked that up when you switch on as a surge protector. I swear I see the word surge protector on it with one light, but I'm gonna go double check because you just
double check it. And in some cases, I would recommend, as I said, there's a code on it. There are normally codes written on them, a UL code on Director's Laboratory. And those are the persons who set the standards for these appliances and whatever gadgets that we're using. They would be the persons testing them to see what voltage they will withstand, how they function. They push them to their limit. So when they put their code on it and say this is for this purpose, use it as recommended. That's it. Stick to the specifications and use as recommended. Now, there are some other types of surge protectors. All of them don't carry the same look. You have to do due diligence. You have to investigate what it is that you are buying. There are some that would just look like a square box, and there are surge protectors. There is a store that I went in recently because persons did call and they did ask, but we saw these in here. They have the word surge or their surge. And when we did go and we did check and we did our research, there are. So I can't say to you that they carry one.
Well, I have something here. I just get something here. This big piece of thing. But mine ain't this big. Mine have forget all the top part here, right? Mine came with this and a switch light here. So forget here. I have none of that. Mine is not fat. This piece here now with the light.
With just a switch.
Yeah, so this mark on surge protector. Right, and this has a green light and this has a red light. Right, so now I have, so now this is the one now that I actually have at home, which is this, and most Barbadians will pick up. What's this?
Yes. And most people think that that is a surge protector. That is just your multi-strip outlet. As I said, because the name on it, it says surge protector. It does not say multi-strip outlet. Persons do
Power
tend to think,
Sentry. Transformer, I don't know. I mean, this power tap is not
as I
intended
said,
to
they
be
have
mounted on a
different
desk.
shapes.
Okay. I'm just
So you
shocked
have
because
some,
at home I could tell you, and I going back to that hardware store. I won't call the name, but I know I buy five. You know what? I threw out all of these there. I threw out all of my extension cords this year because they were old. And when you plug in something and you can hear crack, you know, that kind of little
yeah,
crackle and pop sound in Kellogg's and Rice Krispies
Kellogg's cornflakes.
is electricity. So I thought, okay, time to throw those away. I had them for many, many years. I'm telling you, I had extension cords that get wet, dry out, use again. I have been lucky. No, and I mean, all jokes aside,
God is
and
with you.
listen, not only that, well, and so is Natasha Ford, because since you came on this show, I actually started to pay more and more attention to things in terms of in the home, as far as electricity is concerned, and fires. And so we'll be smiling, and yes, this is a season to be jolly, but this is a season to make sure we avoid electrical fires. We avoid fires from the oven, from baking things and falling asleep. I burned a macaroni pie 3 years ago. I mean, scorch it. I fell asleep because I spent 2-3 nights before cleaning. So you see, Christmas Eve, you're burnt out. And if you know you're tired, the macaroni pie can wait for the next day. And it was crunchy pie, and it was no longer macaroni. But the point is, I could have easily burnt the house. One of the questions I have to ask, though, plugging in now the lights in the tree. Now, you know they're all joined together. So you're wrapping, and you putting in the plug into the other one and to the other one. But I sometimes you look at some trees and people got about 3-4 plug into that one light because they're not catching the wrap in a perfect way. Growing up, you didn't catch the wrap, so you can then plug in. You realize, oh shoot, I ain't joined this here, so let me stick all of these here now, one up on top of the next. The Christmas tree lights into this one.
I get you.
Yeah. How many are we allowed to stack, or is it just use one per?
No, I wouldn't say, because honestly, with me, I like to see lights on my tree as well, and I'm guilty of being one of those persons. The most for me that I would do is probably 2 strings,
Okay.
and I like two. Well, I think one of them is like 200, the other one was 100. So I don't push it because again, you still have to take into consideration the amount of voltage, and when you stack like that, you overload the circuit. And majority of us, we carry what, like a 110 within 110 volts within our home, and we still have other things going. Now, as you said, this is the Christmas season, so where more persons are going to be home, especially those who are doing the baking for commercial purposes, you know, the black cake or great cake, can't get away from that. So we have persons who are going to be doing more baking. We have other appliances, persons who have the decorative lights. And again, those work off of electricity. So when you combine all of these things, ask yourself, am I overloading the circuit within the home? And many people do not consider that. They don't consider what they have in place already: the television, the radio. You're playing the radio more often now. You have the microwave plugged in. For what reason, I'm not sure. Microwave is one of those things. The only reason I can think you leaving it plugged in like that is to see the clock, because a
So
microwave
you're
is not something
saying
that you
that
use.
we don't need to. But okay, again, pulling energy, I would imagine for your electricity bill, they're plugged in too. So yeah, I leave my mic, but most of us do that. Most of us leave our stoves plugged in too. I mean,
No problem with the
the
stove.
stove.
There's no problem with the stove. There's no problem with the fridge, because
But we gotta
majority
leave
of
the
the
fridge
stoves
plugged
you would
in.
know they come with their transformers. They come with the transformers already, so that regulates the voltage and everything else. But the microwave, those are non-essentials. The kitchen and me, we have gone when we look at it realistically, majority of us have stepped away from traditional things that we used to. We're no more modernized. So where we used to use the kettle on the stove, we've now gone and we purchased electric kettles, which again,
Listen,
we're pulling electricity.
because of you, I changed, because you told me a story of an electric kettle that burnt out. This is sometime back when the show. And I recognized, because my daughter Sky likes to get up and not to make her own tea. Auntie Kathy would come and help us, but she would put on the water. And this kettle was not clicking off. Now Sky may remember to turn it on, but she didn't remember to turn it off because it wasn't functioning. So I, Joanne Haigh, got rid of that kettle to make sure that if my daughter is putting water and that click that on, that click off button is working, because if it didn't click off, it would burn out and the whole thing would burn. It's got to be really careful. We got to be careful, but we're going to take a quick commercial break again, and we come back with more with Natasha Ford. We'll be back. Welcome back to Face It and Fix It. We are speaking with Natasha Ford, Fire Prevention Officer, and during the break, I still staring at this gadget because I can't believe that I bought a whole set of these to put one plug in to, and it was not a surge protector, but rather a device that allows you for more than one plug to be placed on it. So imagine how foolish I feel knowing that I buy up all of these just to put one plug. Natasha?
But again, Joy, what I would say to you is be careful. Don't eliminate it as yet. There are some surge protectors that actually look like those now.
Okay.
There are some that actually
No,
look
I'm going
like
back and
those
check
now.
for sure. I'm
Just
going
make
to.
sure exactly.
Okay. So
I'm
before.
not able to say where you can go to pick up the ones looking like those that are surge protectors.
But you should say. I mean.
Because of reasons.
Say again.
I am not allowed to say at this point in time the place where you can go to pick up the ones that, because some people don't like the bulky looking ones.
Oh.
So I can't advertise, as you would know, for a particular right.
Well, I would imagine all of the hardware stores should have the right, or ask somebody who knows. No? Okay, well, I mean, is that something you may have to whisper to me that I can have to share with the public? Because I'm telling you, most of us pick up those things that you just would have seen that I showed you, which is the smaller ones and not the other ones. But apart from house fires caused by electrical things, like the trees for Christmas and too many things plugged in, and people still burning the stuff, and especially around this time of year, people want to get rid of the old things quick. What would you like to say about that?
Before I go to that, there's one that I think that is very important. We've now become a Barbadian culture that likes to smell the pine trees. and we're into the live trees. Now, for those persons out there who have the live Christmas trees, one of the things that I need to say to you, especially with the electrical fires, is that those trees are more susceptible to catching on fire than the than anything
Artificial.
else. Because yes, in terms of, and it was why I say that is because the, what you call them, the pine, when the pine dries out, if you're not watering that tree, and that's what people fail to realize, they just go, they buy the tree, they don't bother to take off just about 2 inches off of the base, they don't put it in water, they don't keep replenishing it with water to stop the tree from drying so quickly. Now, when the pines become dry and brittle, if there's any shortage with your electrical lights, with your lights, that can catch a fire so quickly. It goes up in flames, and I'm telling you, something looking like 2 minutes or so. So that in itself, as much as we like to smell the pine, I think I'm going to stick to pine sol, if I want to smell pine. But those trees, no.
Well, I have a
You
light.
need
I
to be
do a light
very
tree every
careful.
year, and you do because I've seen those things light up in a bonfire, and I could tell you it's huge. Burning
Very
those
much.
trees, it's huge. About putting water now in, I must confess, most people bought their trees early, and because I was deciding between dengue and a dry tree, I was supposed to buy some turpentine, and I didn't get the turpentine. So if I didn't put in turpentine, because you want to put the base, put some water in. And the last thing I wanted was to breed mosquitoes inside of my house.
Mosquitoes.
And you
Correct.
were supposed to put something in. So I said, well, I didn't get the turpentine, so don't put nothing in there until I could get it. The tree is a little bit dry, but most people bought their trees around like December 1st, 2nd. By now, because they were already dead when we bought them. So by
Yeah.
now, no amount of water right now, I think
Not
could,
at this point in
not at
time.
this
Not
stage.
at this point
With
in
the
time.
heat,
Not at this
with the
time.
sun blaring in your living room or wherever you got, the tree by now. But what about the lights in terms of feeling heat? Because there's LED lights, so you don't feel anything. So you're not talking about the heat from the lights. You're talking about if there's a shortage in the wires
Yes.
itself.
If there's
Okay.
a shortage in the wiring itself,
Okay.
that can
So.
create a problem. And most of the times, again, the tree is attached to either an extension cord or the multi-strip outlet. We have that. We have the lights plugged into those. And being realistic, I know how it used to go. Before becoming a fire officer myself, I know these are things that I used to do. But as I said, education out there plays a lot. So I'm trying to educate persons as much as possible so that we can make more informed, educated decisions.
And here I was thinking that thank God that the lights didn't have those little prickly things on it. You're probably too young to know the type of Christmas tree lights that had the spikes that used to go up in your
Yeah,
foot
that I
every
said
year.
when I was younger. Well, yeah,
Yeah.
my dad used to buy those because he used to love adorning the tree for us. And I'm telling you, I know those lights you're talking about. I was so glad when they did away with them.
Discontinue those because we had to sit down and pull out. I would always be the bulb checker.
One by one.
It's amazing that I did not pursue a career as an electrician. My mother would have us sitting down and we'll try to find the bulb that blow because we can't
Yes.
afford to buy new lights. We gotta look for that bulb. And if it's more than one, you're pulling out, pushing in, pulling out, pushing in, and your hands now bruised up from these
Ever
spikes.
so sore.
Yeah, yep, yep. So I
I remember
remember
my younger days it was.
the joys of Christmas, the joys of Christmas. But for sure, the last thing that we want is a fire, as a house fire, even a commercial ones and businesses. But we were
Very
talking about the
much.
burning of the stuff before you
Yeah.
people still you need a
So
permit to do that first of all.
was just about to say that
Mhm.
first thing first, you need to have your burn permit. You need to apply to the Barbados Fire Service, which is the fire prevention unit, to have your burn permit. Once you've made the application for the permit, an officer there will come out to check the area to make sure that it is safe to do the burn. You're not going to be impeding on your neighbors. It's not going to be causing any discomfort to anyone else. We take all of those things into consideration. Persons think we're just trying to grab that money, but no, I have seen within the period since the burn permits have been enforced that persons have been denied and they have been given alternative solutions. So the burn permit is not a one catch, a easy fix that, if persons want to burn, then you just get the permit and that's the end of it. Let me just dismiss that right away. We do talk about other alternatives first in terms of, okay, if it's trees, shrubs around the house that you've just cleaned up, we talk about composting. If you're not able to compost, having a truck, come and take the stuff away, hauling it to one of the landfill areas, one of the persons who would accept it. We talk about other means of disposing of your garbage or disposing of the things that you don't want. We work in connection with the sanitation authority, who would come and take away the appliances and such, like the tires and whatever else. For recycling purposes, we have other agencies out there. I can't remember the name of it offhand, but there's one, I think in the Kenwood area. Got my bearings all wrong. But down by, I think you should have, oh my goodness.
You mean out there in St. Thomas?
Right. Yes, out in St. Thomas.
Okay, I can't remember the name either. I too have having a senior
Exactly.
moment. Don't worry about it. It's lack of sleep. Christmas will do that to you. Christmas will do that to you.
Very much
But
so.
but
So we have places that would accept these, would accept your debris. Just call them, talk to them. But some persons we know try to, and I'm not going to butter it up. Some persons would always try to take the shortcut. Some persons would try to take matters into their own hands, and these are the ones who normally would create a problem for the rest of us. It then means that fire officers have to be responding to fires that they don't need to be responding to, which means you're utilizing resources at this point in time that are critical, that could be responding to something else. Again, it means that when you're burning your fires and you're doing all these things, you have persons within your community who have respiratory ailments and respiratory problems. You don't take these people into consideration. So I'm not trying to be all dumb and out and say that you're not supposed to tidy up around you, but something like get together as a neighborhood. Everybody, you do your cleaning up and just get a truck. Come through, collect the garbage. There's the breakdown of the money. Everybody puts a piece, or the sanitation service authority offers a service out there,
and they offer a fantastic service when it comes to
very much
getting away from. Listen, even the regular guys. Oh shoot! And that reminds me that I know the garbage truck come out this morning, and I did not. Guys, I apologize. I hope you come back before Christmas or just after, because I normally make sure that I look after the SSA guys. When the thing, I think we all have to, because to respect you for them having to do this job, and especially around this time, it's heavier on them, because we all got a lot more to put out and on the outside. And I know true. I missed that one, but before we go, because we can soon be out of time, we talked about the lights on the Christmas tree and the live trees. But I see a lot of lights, and I don't mean these spotlights. I mean, I use these spotlights now because gone are the days we are hammering up all these nails on the outside of your house to string your lights. And then these are not outdoor lights. And you know that we can have rain and so on. What would you, and I know you're not an electrician, but is it that the lights will just go off? Can that cause a fire too on the outside when you're using A, the extension cord, B, indoor lights on the outside? Or would it just short out and that's it with water?
I'm not exactly sure how it would operate, but that's why we always say stick to the specifications given.
If it's outdoor, use it as outdoor.
If they say outdoor, use it outdoor. If they say indoor, use it indoor. If the extension that you're using is not for outdoor purposes, you would have heard me stress on that earlier, that sometimes we just pick up things. We don't look at what the reason that we're using them. We don't look to see if they're for outdoor purposes, if they're for indoor purposes. We just know that we want something and we just grab. So all of those are things that you need to take into consideration, because again, they're built to a certain specification. And if you use them outside of how they were designed to be used, then yes, it can create a problem for you. There is the chance there can be electrical fires. I can't say that I know of any right now offhand, but I'm not, all of the fires have not been, I have not
had all the information for all the investigations to date.
Information to see, yes, if this fire was because of electrical, what was the breakdown of it all. So for me to sit here and pretend, I'm not going to do that. I'm not about giving false information.
All right.
At the end of the day, as I said, stick to what you know. Do what you're supposed to do. If you want it for indoor purposes, make sure the box says for indoor purposes. There are some that say indoor and outdoor. You can get away with those. But if it says for indoor, don't take an indoor set of lights and put on the outside. And if they're for outside purposes, don't put them indoors.
Exactly.
Because it means the voltage then is going to be totally different.
I want to give you 1 minute and no more of a message from the fire service during the season. If you can, final words.
Thank you.
Yes,
on behalf of the management and staff of the Barbados Fire Service, we're asking that all persons be mindful at this point in time of what you're doing. Please take in consideration Christmas is just one day. We go out of our way to ensure that we have a merry, jolly time, but we want to know that at the end of this one day, going into 2022, this is 2021, right? Yes, going into 2022, that everyone, is going to be safe, will be safe. And that is what we wholeheartedly wish for each and every one of you out there, that you have not only a Merry Christmas, a joyous season, but you also have a fire-free and a very safe season.
Thank you so much, Natasha Ford. Always a pleasure. Senior Fire Prevention Officer at the Barbados Fire Service. Love you, Lois. Don't know, but I love all the information. Love all the information you always bring, and you teach us so much. Continue to keep up the good work. Have a great season.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. We'll be back after the break. Welcome back to Face It and Fix It. In a few minutes we have left, I just want to remind all Barbadians, and including even myself, that there's a reason for the season, and it's not only about buying and getting a turkey and a ham and all the gifts in the world. It's about kindness and being thoughtful to others. And from time to time, we all lose sight of the reason that we do it. So I'm hoping, and as I said, me included, sometimes the shopping can get away from you, and the whole concept of getting it done, you get a little frustrated, you're depressed, because you can't get everything done, and it defeats the whole purpose of the season. So I want to wish everybody a peaceful, a healthy Christmas, healthy first and foremost, peaceful as well, and prosperous in a sense where I hope you have enough, just enough to go by. If you have more than enough, great, but I pray that you have enough. You know, we don't have a show next Monday, this Monday coming. We'll be back on the 30th of December with our show. And with that said, please be safe. Merry Christmas from Face It and Fix It, and from all of the crew behind the scenes. We wish you a peaceful and healthy Christmas. Bye for now. See you next week.